These new videos obtained exclusively by the news movement appear to show Alex Pretti clash with federal officers in Minneapolis 11 days before his death. Their crews were already on the ground filming a documentary when they got a tip to head to the scene. Let's bring in former U.S. Attorney John Fishwick. John, thank you for joining us tonight on the National News Desk. In these videos, Pretti appears to have his gun on him. In the January 13th video, he doesn't hold it, but he has it. That's what we're being told. He then spit on a federal agent and then kicked a taillight of a federal vehicle, which you can see. Could he have been arrested then? Did he commit a crime then, in your opinion?
Absolutely, Dee Dee. I think he could have been charged with two crimes. One is when he spit towards the federal ICE agents. That's assaulting a federal officer. And also when he kicked that taillight off, that's the destruction of federal property. And so the agents chose to take him to the ground. But I think a real question is, why wasn't he arrested on that day? They certainly had probable cause to arrest him. They could see that he seemed to have committed two crimes right in front of them.
And obviously, as new video and images come to light, this will all be investigated, and we hope to get some more answers. But what is the legal standard if you are in possession of a lawful firearm, which is seen in one of these videos, but then you approach agents? How does that impact how they are lawfully able to respond? Does an officer have to feel their life is being threatened before they use deadly force?
So the standard for the officer is whether they reasonably fear for their life in a volatile situation. But anytime you bring a gun into a situation where it's a high-stress sort of protest with people blowing whistles and with cameras very close to the faces of an ICE agent, then you're adding much more stress and volatility to a situation, because not only does the officer have to be aware of where the firearm is, it's also putting the other bystanders or the other protesters at risk when you bring a firearm. So it puts the officers in a much more difficult situation when one of the protesters in these volatile situations is carrying a firearm. The officer's got to be aware of where that firearm is, and so do the bystanders, the other protesters. So it's not a good idea, in my opinion, to bring a firearm to one of these protests.
As you saw these videos, what was your first thought?
Well, I think the main thought I've got, Dee Dee, is I hope we have an independent investigation. On the one that he was shot and killed, I think we have to have that outside agency. I would suggest the FBI to look at it, whether the officers reasonably feared for their life at the time that they shot him. Our country has great deference to law enforcement. Judges and juries give them the benefit of the doubt in these situations. But I think for our country to have confidence in what happened that day, I think we need to have an independent investigation, and I would suggest the FBI is best suited to do that.